Alright, you guys, what's going on? Back with Barstool Grove City. Back by popular demand, we have an assistants panel interview with Coach Howard and Coach Schoonie today. So taking any loss is pretty tough, especially when it was a 7-3 loss, and you two are offensive style coaches. So what did you guys kind of say to the players afterwards on that Saturday watching film?
But I think just in general, any takeaway, right? Like, one of the messages I try to get across to guys is the biggest difference between winning and losing is the way that the outside world treats you. For me as a coach, and sometimes we have a tendency to focus on the things that need to get coached up, regardless of whether or not you win or lose. So even after a loss, despite guys feeling down, the goal is still the same, right? Like, we came out of the Scioto film on Saturday morning, following that win, and there is still so much to improve on. We did a lot of things good and a lot of things not so well. And the same thing from Friday, right? We didn't take advantage of making plays. The defense played lights out, and we just did not take advantage of opportunities to try to win that game. And so from an offensive line perspective, my message to my guys is you still got so much to improve, right? And that's got to continue through the rest of the season. You should never be satisfied, win or lose, with how you performed. You should be able to take something every single week and work on improving your craft. So.
And Coach Schoonie, what was the message to your guys as well?
Yeah, and it's really just echoing that. It's, did we play to our full potential? And we can say, with honesty, we did not, right? We still had more left in the tank, and we still had more to give. So it's how do we get that extra 10%, 15% to reach that 100%, so we can show what we can really do on the field on Fridays.
Absolutely. So then you're coming into a different style offense once again, Thomas Worthington. Looking at what their quarterback has done over the past 2 weeks, kind of tell me, what have you guys I know from my perspective, it shouldn't be something that the stats shouldn't be something that tells these players, oh my gosh, I should be afraid of this guy, but kind of tell me, how are you guys preparing for him?
Yeah, I think, and obviously we both coach offensive positions, but I help with the defensive line, and Coach Schoonie helps out with corners in the secondary. So we've got a little bit of insight there. But their quarterback has really played out of this world for the last 2 weeks. I think he had only had 4 or 5 incompletions in week 1 against Beechcroft, and they kind of lit the scoreboard up, and then they were able to do the same thing against Kilbourne, and he's a shifty little guy. He makes a lot of people miss, but what I told the defensive line is he's always looking downfield, always looking to try to make plays to his receivers. And so while he may run around and scramble a little bit, he's not necessarily a runner from what we've seen in the 2 films so far. So you got to respect that. And the numbers that he has put up are impressive. We're not going to let that scare us or deter us from anything. We're going to make sure that we get some pressure with our defensive line and our linebackers. And we'll let the secondary do their thing and lock those receivers down and try to stop that offensive attack.
And Coach Schoonie, as an offensive unit, even how are you trying to make sure that your offense is on top of their game against that dominant of an offense in Thomas Worthington?
Yeah, it's how well we can sustain drives. We can't go 3 and out. We have to continue to snap the ball, make the plays, get up and down the field. Obviously, we want the ball longer than them. We want to score more points than them. So head up matchup like that, I think we have the better athletes all around. I think our wide receivers are a little bit more true. I think our running backs, our stable of running backs, are a little bit more athletic. I think if we come out and we play our game, we're going to outshine them. We just can't stop ourselves.
Absolutely. So going into this week of practice, kind of tell me what Coach Waits has done with the guys to kind of make sure that this team is on top of their game come Friday.
So the big message the last couple weeks, and immediately after the game on Friday against Hilliard, we kind of pointed to that week of practice and said we weren't good enough in the Monday through Thursday preparation leading into that game. We had a couple of sloppy practices Monday and Tuesday, got a little bit better Wednesday and Thursday, but it was too little too late from a coaching perspective. And people don't oftentimes think about the ripple effects from how you practice at the beginning of the week to a Friday night, but we felt like that was something that was evident, where we practiced a little bit sloppy and lackadaisical early on, and that kind of shone through on the game on Friday. So our message to these guys was you got to be better all week, right? Coach Waits is one of Coach Waits' saying this year is be great in the weight room, be great in practice, be great on Fridays, right? And we've been pretty good in the weight room. We still got some work to do there. Last week we were not great in practice, and it showed its face on Friday. So we got to make sure this week of preparation is significantly better, because these guys have an extremely potent offensive attack, and they shut Kilbourne out defensively last week. So we've got the ultimate challenge in trying to fight both sides of the ball. Those guys are playing hot. So,
Coach Schoonie, kind of share your side on that as well.
Yeah, Coach Waits emphasizes how many seconds are in a day, 86,400. And he says every second at practice we have to make worthwhile. We have to take advantage of every second, because that 2.5 hour practice, that's where we're going to get better, right? We can recover, we can do all the other things outside of it, but we have to go hard for that 2.5 hours. So we don't condition them, we don't do any of that extra stuff, because we're going so hard in practice. And it's just taking advantage of every second, whether it's being whether if you're off the offensive scout team or anything like that, it's what are you giving every single second, and make sure we capitalize on that.
And Coach Waits, from both of your perspectives, has kind of told me that same thing in previous interviews, especially what you said, Coach Howard, with you got to be good in the weight room, got to be good in practice, and you got to be good on Friday nights. But now we've kind of seen that kind of perspective kind of show off a little bit. One week it's maybe Friday night, and then this past week it was practice. So how do you guys want, as assistant coaches, want to make sure that these guys accomplish all three of those things every single week?
So, Coach Schoonie and I are the ones that are primarily involved in the weight room. So, we ask a lot out of those guys. On my side of things, taking the power group, the offensive line, defensive line, right? I make them, and the same is true in practice, I make them focus on the details, right? I'm really, really specific in how I want everybody to do things the right way, and that's a message that we continue to preach. So do things the right way in the weight room, and you're going to get stronger, you're going to stay healthy, right? You're going to stay safe, right? Avoid injury in there. In the practice field, it's the same thing, right? We want those guys to do every little thing the right way. From my perspective, playing offensive line and coaching offensive line, everything from your footwork to your hand placement, your head placement has to be exact. And a team like Davidson last Friday night kind of exposed that a little bit in certain facets, where if you took one step that was out of direction or the wrong way, right, they took full advantage of that. And we have to make sure that those are things that we continue to pay attention to in order to progress as a program, right? You got to be detail oriented in everything you do. So that's kind of the general message that we're trying to give to those guys, in making sure all three facets. Because if you take care of the weight room by doing the little things right, take care of practice by doing the little things right, Fridays come naturally, and the little things are done right there. Okay, so knock out those first two things, and Fridays should be fun, right? You got to practice and lift so hard that Fridays are the most enjoyable part of your week.
Coach Schoonie?
Yeah, Coach Howard says everything right. To build off of maybe a little side just with my skill guys, it's just having fire and desire, whatever you do, right? In the weight room, in practice, and on games, right? We can't just say, oh, we're just not a practice team, we're a game team, and come out on Friday nights. It can't happen, right? We need to have that same fire that we're going to have on Friday nights in the 3:30 weight room sessions and in practice, because that's how you're going to create a better culture all around, right? And that's what we're trying to set up. We're not just trying to have a good year with these athletes, we're trying to set up generations to come. And that fire in their eyes and what they do, that's going to be the motivation to take them and win some games.
Absolutely. Coaches, I know that we've had a pretty quick interview. Coming off a loss is never easy, so there's not too much that should be talked about. It's all should be on the field. So any last thoughts from any of you two?
I can't wait to get back after this Friday night. I know the guys are chomping at the bit. They know how close they were to beating a longtime opponent in Hilliard Davidson, and I think they've gotten the message the last couple of days about some of the things that have to improve. I'm really excited to kind of see how they come out next Friday and turn things around, but we've got a couple days of practice left here. We got to make sure we're on top of our game, and like I said earlier, let Friday be the fun part.
Coach Schoonie?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the fans that came out Friday night. That was an astounding crowd. To have these stands filled up, I mean, it was amazing to come out and to support the dogs and keep doing that, because what you guys do, you guys funnel that energy and that fire to keep these guys coming around and keep these guys playing hard. So I just want to say thank you to the Grove City community.
Coach Howard, Coach Schoonie, it's been another great interview. Right, once again, it was backed by popular demand. These fans want you guys out here, and well, go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Thanks, man.
Yep.